Good evening, greetings, and salutations. This is Passionate Bliss, and I'm here tonight with questions, comments, useless facts about me. First, go to my online store, mypassionatebliss.myshopify.com. Get the latest edition of your Black Love t-shirt. If you're a Melanin King, get one for your king. And if you got time today, let them know by getting your t-shirt. And the shirt I got on says I'm blackity black black today. I'm blackity black black every day. Okay, but go ahead and do that. So the question I had tonight was this. And it's been tossed around the internet lately. Should Charlemagne the Godless be canceled? Okay, that's a question that's been going on. Of course, we know that Charlemagne did openly admit to putting Spanish fly in women's drinks, getting them drunk, having intercourse with them, including his wife. He, in particular, had this one young lady, Jessica Reed, who keeps coming back up. Like a thorn in his side, as she should for the rest of his days if she would like to. That is her right, to tell her story over and over to as many people as will listen to it. She keeps coming back up because she claims that Charlemagne did rape her. She pressed charges to that effect, and he answered to those charges. He was legally charged with rape, and he pled it down to contributing to the delinquency of a minor because she would not testify. I'm sad to say that that was her opportunity for justice. You know, double jeopardy. He can't be charged twice. He was charged with the rape, but the rape itself was pled down, so he can no longer be charged again with that rape. So her opportunity for justice on that charge is gone. I don't know if it was her mother who squandered it or if she was just too afraid to testify at the time, but unfortunately, he answered that charge. He faced the charge, okay? And to a certain extent, he beat it because he pled it down to something that was tolerable to him, okay? So I'm saying no to that question. Should Charlemagne the God be canceled? No. Why am I saying that? As a woman. Now, I'm not denying in any way, shape, or form that being raped, having something that private and personal taken away from you against your will, whether you were conscious or unconscious or not, is one of the most horrendous, egregious things that any woman can suffer and live through. That I can think of, that I want to even think of. I'm not in any way negating how horrendous what he did was, okay? And my personal opinion, I do think he's a rapist. However, this is what I would like to say. This is the reason I say no, he shouldn't be canceled. Because the fact of the matter is, this was 20 years ago, okay? And 20 years ago, that was the norm. That was the culture. Men would openly discuss slipping something in women's drinks, okay? Bill Cosby sat up on the gentleman who had the googly glasses. What was his name? I forgot his name, the late night talk show host. But he sat up on his show and openly discussed putting, Spanish fly in women's drinks. And the guy laughed about it when he interviewed him. That was on a very popular late night show. I hate that I can't remember that guy's name. But anyway, Bill Cosby openly discussed it. Nothing happened to him at the time. Hugh Hefner and them, they were all over there doing that. They were taking drugs, they were having sex. It was the culture at that time.
Spanish fly was the thing that all boys from age 11 on up to death, we will still be searching for Spanish fly. And what was the old story was, if you took a little drop, it was on the head of a pin.
That's right.
And
Drop
you put
it in
a drink.
Coca-Cola. Don't matter.
It doesn't make it, and the girl would drink it, and
She sure.
hello, America.
I remember being in, even before that, being in junior high and high school and hearing guys talk about that they had gotten Spanish fly, that they had spiked punch at a party. It was the norm. It was the culture. And that was when, we learned as young girls, not to accept drink from people that you don't trust completely. Although that's what happened to Jessica Reed. She did trust him and he gave her a drink. So we learned, not to walk away from a drink and come back to it unless you get somebody that, you trust to hold it for you. We learned not to accept drinks from some strangers unless it's delivered to you by the waitress. If the waitress didn't bring it, don't drink it. Okay? So, those are things that we learned because the culture at that time, we understood, even though it was wrong, even though it was egregious, that was the norm. 20 years ago, it was the norm. I'm not sure why he came out publicizing it and talking about it. I guess because he knew it was possibly gonna come back to haunt him. So he spoke about it often, okay, and was recorded speaking about it, telling some lies while he spoke about it. But the thing is that it was the norm, it was the culture, okay? At this point, He knows that it's wrong. At some point, he figured out, I'm sure, with the rape charge, that it was wrong. That this is not what you do. It is not okay. It's not cute. It's not cool. Okay, so he learned that that's not the case. You know, there were a lot of things that were tolerated that were not okay, and they're not tolerated now. Sexual harassment used to be okay. A boss slapped his secretary on the fanny. That was fine. They did that all the time. Okay, black people got passed over promotions that they deserved. That happened all the time. Black people who were more qualified than white people were not hired for the job they deserve. It happened all the time. For that reason, they had to come up with sexual harassment policies in the workplace. So they can't do that anymore. Okay, they had to come up with affirmative action so that black people could get a chance to get a job that they deserve, that they were qualified for. Okay, so now it's the habit that people don't do that anymore. You know, they notice the Spanish flying somebody's drink is rape now. They're not tolerating that anymore. You know, I mean, as far as, you know, homosexuality and gays, you know, it used to be okay to gay bash. It's not okay to gay bash anymore. So, you know, but back then it was, you know, so to me, I do think that that is somewhat unfair to judge somebody on something that they did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I wasn't making the best decisions. I made some very questionable decisions 20 years ago that I paid for permanently, you know, so, in fact, they just graduated from college. Some of the questionable decisions I've made, you know. So you know, there's any number of decisions that could be made that happened 20 years ago that you would never consider doing today, because you are a different person. We change, we grow, we evolve. At what point do people who have made egregious mistakes, like Nicki Minaj's husband, you know, they accused him of a charge, he paid the time for it. He did the time decades ago. Okay, at what point does he get the right to be a new person, to say, I'm not that person anymore? You know, at what point do I get to say, I'm not that person anymore? I don't make gay slanders. I used to use the F word all the time because where I'm from, that's what they said. You know, I don't call homosexuals that anymore, but I did at the time. Am I still going to get nailed to the cross 20 years later because I said that 20 years ago? You know, there's lots of things that were once okay and now they're not okay, and we know that. So my thing is that if somebody had said last year, Charlemagne the God put something in my drink, 5 years ago, yeah, nail him to the wall. But 20 years ago, when it was okay, when everybody was doing it, you know, I don't think that that's actually okay. At what point do we get to grow, move forward, be more, be better, do better, you know? So that's why I feel like, no, he shouldn't be canceled. You know, senators having to retire because they sexually harassed somebody 20 years ago. You know, women on Social Security coming back to accuse, you know, senators of harassing her years ago. He's got to step down. That's ridiculous. You know, do I get to go back 20 years ago and sue somebody for not giving me a job that I wanted 20 years ago and I didn't get because I was black? You know, my thing is, at what point do you say, okay, I forgive you? Okay, you get to move forward. Okay, let's see what you're doing now, what you're up to now. That's my question. At what point do we get to grow, to be more, to say I'm more now, I'm better now? At what point? Many of us weren't making good decisions 20 years ago. So that's why I say no. I say don't cancel him. I say judge him for what he's doing now. Although Kwame did hand him his backside when he brought up his daddy and his brother, as he should have, you know. So unfortunately, because Charlemagne got into something, you know, that he had no business in, just like Shekinah. I guess he didn't learn from Shekinah, even though he reported on Shekinah, you know, he didn't learn from her. He got into his friend's business, you know, got his backside handed to him. He didn't like it. Brought up his old skeletons. So he'll always be haunted by that. But, you know, canceling him, you know, tearing down what he's done today because of something he did 20 years ago, no. I say don't cancel him. What do you say? With that being said, y'all have sweet dreams. Wait to find them all real.